welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we're going to update you on all the things economic development-wise that are going on in the city. My guest is our Interim Director, Steve Lynch. Welcome.
Thank you, Robin. Good morning.
This is one of my favorite topics because eventually we get to shopping and eating. But we're going to start at a little bit of a different place.
Sure.
Because a lot of the buzz I hear from the citizens is, you know, we need more jobs. We need more big employers coming into the city, and we've had some success on that front. And I want to recap some of the large employers that have come in over the past year or two.
Yes, Robin, you are correct. We have a couple of larger employees who've come into the town into the past year or two. WPS Health Solution is a perfect example. When they came to the city, they took the old Sprint building on Butler Farm Road. Their goal was to hire 645 people. They were hiring 100 people per month.
Oh my gosh, how do you even ramp that up that quickly?
They worked and they hustled and they had a lot of human resource staff on hand. And now they've grown that number to about 800 people in round numbers.
And you know, they're fairly quiet. Like, you don't hear about them unless you're on one of the jobs boards or something like that.
Yes, because they are a government contracted firm, they're very quiet. They have no need to advertise. They just go about performing their business. Another company that came into the town about a year ago is Maximus. They came in with a goal of about 189 people in new hires, and now their numbers are probably close to 250 with the expansions. They've gone through 2 expansions at the Net Center site. Now they're on their 3rd expansion.
Now, when you say Net Center site, what is that?
Yes, that's the old shopping center on Mercury Boulevard.
New Market North,
yeah,
right?
on New Market North, where the Sears still exists.
Okay.
Yes.
So those are, I get them mixed up in my brain. Tell me what each of them does, because they're different.
Yes, we classify them both under professional service centers, but both of them can be called the old term of call center. WPS, they receive calls from government insurance carriers and the patrons who have those insurance cards, and they deal with any issues or questions that they may have. Now,
So that's a little bit specialized.
It's very specialized.
Yeah. Okay.
We actually, to speak to the size of the company, we are the 2nd largest populated location for the company. They are headquartered out of Wisconsin, but we are almost close to catching the number of people that they have in Wisconsin. Our goal is to pull the headquarters here to Hampton.
Wow.
To speak a little bit more about Maximus, they do several contracts. They don't specialize. They have the talent to service multiple contractors, and they're all private contractors. So once again, they're doing inbound and outbound calls.
Okay. Liberty Source, maybe they didn't come in the past 2 years, maybe it's been a little bit longer, but they have been booming out of Fort Monroe, correct?
Liberty Source has been around for a while now. They focus on hiring military-related, whether it's retired military or military spouses, and they've done a great job. They've also gone through 4 expansions at Fort Monroe. They now occupy 4 buildings at Fort Monroe. Their number of employees is up to 200, and matter of fact, I just met with them a few weeks ago. They're working on some new contracts that could cause them to increase those numbers to a greater capacity.
Wow. Okay. Any other major, you know, large-scale, 100-plus type employers recently?
None at this time, but we are working on some prospects that I can't tell you about.
I would love to twist your arm, but I know I'm not supposed to do that. That is great. Well, what other do you see in terms of our work employment kinds of things? It's not all large employers. A lot of times those small employers really are the backbone.
Correct, and you touched on a good point, because a lot of smaller companies, whether they're like 10 to 20 people, they grow. So they may start off small, but they are going to grow and they're going to prosper in Hampton, and they're going to have to increase those numbers. A perfect example of something that's going to increase the workforce and pull some workforce for Hampton when the HRBT starts its construction. It's going to require a lot of people working on that job, and a lot of jobs they are going to work on the Hampton side, so we're looking forward to the workforce ramping up to address that project as well.
That is exciting, and these are all really skilled jobs. So I'm going to ask you, you know, one of the things employers look at when they're deciding where to locate is the quality of the workforce and who has the skills they want. That is something your office has also been working on pretty hard recently.
That's correct. The second or first question when we're talking to a prospect is the skill of our labor force and the capacity of our labor force. We have a workforce initiative now and economic development where we're working with all our workforce partners in the region. We have brought them together as a coalition to focus on training, providing skills, and advancing skills. And one of the things the city is working on very specifically is to achieve our ACT certification, which will tell the world and the nation we now have qualified skilled workers here in the city of Hamptons, so that will contribute to us attracting more businesses to the city.
It's sort of like a standardized test that you take, but instead of it giving you a score that gets you into a college, it gives you a score that helps you get a job.
You're correct.
That's
You're
so
correct.
cool. It's a great idea.
And it's a great way of communicating to the public at large, and like I said, to the nation at large. You don't have to be concerned about skilled labor in Hampton. We have developed it, we have cultivated it, and it's here. All we need you to do is come and take advantage of it.
That's great. Now, I just do want to back up for a second to sort of large employers or industrial or whatever. We have some sites available in Hampton so that if someone is looking to locate to Hampton Roads, we have a couple of decent sized places that they could locate. You want to talk about what that means, what a mega site is, or,
Sure.
or what we're talking about?
One of the sites that you may be references is Hampton Roads Center North. We have approximately 200 developable acres in that park. That park was designed as a traditional commercial park. It has evolved somewhat where we've turned it into a mixed-use development, but we are looking to attract businesses to that. We would like to have a company headquarter or a regional division of a company, but we can host anything from an office building to light manufacturing. But we want to be sure how we treat and how we develop that project because it's one of the few large sites that we have in the city.
In fact, it's one of the few large sites in Hampton Roads. And a lot of those other ones are, very south, Suffolk, South Chesapeake, and near the North Carolina line, kind of a little farther from the interstate, a little farther from the amenities that a city offers. And so I think our parcel we're waiting for the right, not waiting.
Yeah.
You're going out and
We're
finding.
searching for the right tenants and the right people to put in that park. And the city has so much and had so much confidence in this happening. The infrastructure is there. All the utilities are there, the road network is there, water and sewer is there. We just need the prospect and we need that interested party to contact us, and we have a site for them.
And I think it's a little bit frustrating for citizens to think, oh, the city owns this land, it's not producing taxes, and they've spent money on things like stormwater, but if you're not ready to go, you're going to miss out, because when a company decides to do this, their timetable's quick.
Correct. We do not dictate their timetable. They dictate the timetable to us. Mm-hmm. And we put that property in the ready position to be able to address and answer any timetable that a prospect would bring to us. And Robin, just to expand on that a little bit, we sometimes cultivate prospects for years before they decide to make the move.
That was the most surprising thing to me when I got to the city was how flippin' long it takes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I guess companies are doing 10-year growth plans, and they don't know when they'll get to a certain point or when they'll be ready to expand, or it's a different game.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And companies have to make tough decisions about expansions because none of us can predict what the economy is going to do.
That's what I was going to say, and it's been pretty uncertain. Even when it started going up, boy, was it going up slowly.
We've seen some improvements in the economy, but companies are very cautious about the money that they have in place for expansion purposes. They are looking harder, they are taking more time to do their due diligence, and they want to make sure the decision that they're making is the right decision at the right time and in the best interest of the company.
Now, one of the things also I keep hearing from economic development folks, and on the planning side, on the study side, and on the private side is retail follows rooftops. Jobs follow rooftops. What are we doing in terms of rooftops? There's a lot going on in
There's
Hampton
a
right
lot
now.
going on in the Buck Row area and all throughout the city. I'll give you a couple of examples. NHRC North that I mentioned earlier, which is our mixed-use park now.
Hampton Roads Center.
Hampton Road Center North. I'm sorry, we're used to acronyms.
I know.
But the Lumen Apartments are under construction. That is going to be 300 market rate unit apartments that Craig David Properties are bringing for us. Another large-scale apartment complex will be a 160-unit plus apartment complex called Monroe Gates in the Phoebus area. It's on what everybody around here refers to as the Omeda site.
But that's so old, I don't remember a Omeda site. So yes, it'll have it finally get redeveloped, and we'll call it what it is now.
Yeah, it's
instead
in
of what it
very
used
close
to be.
proximity to downtown Phoebus, as I refer to it, right adjacent to the McDonald's. But another exciting announcement that we just made in the past few weeks is our new master development agreement and arrangement with WVS. WVS came to us and communicated with us, and they are two entities actually. WVS is a Richmond-based company, and Saunders Krause is a Virginia-based company. They are an architectural firm. Together, they are the group that did the Rockets Landing development in Richmond, which everybody is aware of. They are going to.
And they're doing a cool thing in Roanoke too.
Yes, they are.
I forget
yes,
what
they
it's
are.
called.
I forget the name of it, but they are.
They use some of the old buildings and they build some new, and they have this mix that keeps sort of the history and the modern and the industrial. It's a nice model.
They are very good at integrating different modes and different architectural schemes together, and we've identified 9 properties and have put it in a master development agreement that has been executed, where they're going to do some new development downtown. They're going to create a variety of residential type units. They're going to create some office, and we even have it on tap for a new restaurant to come to the downtown. Haven't identified it at this point in time, but we are in some discussions to make that happen. This is going to do a couple of things. It's going to enhance our downtown community. It's going to lend some critical mass in our downtown of people living downtown to not only support new businesses coming in, but the wonderful existing restaurants and service businesses that we already have downtown.
And Hampton has really gotten such a reputation now for the breweries, the restaurants. There's a lot of different, fresh kinds of concepts that are coming, and they've taken off. But before we finish that, I want to go back to talking. Some people feel like apartments aren't always an enhancement to a city, that what we need is ownership. And for long-term stability, traditionally that's been true, but right now, apartments are what people are doing.
Correct. The apartment market is hot right now, and we're building market rate apartments. So
But market rate can mean a lot of different things. We're actually building fairly upscale apartments.
Upscale market rate, a better term. And with the WVS group, we are also including some future properties to be owned. So it will not just be rental. Well, some of them will be built as townhouses and for ownership. So we're going to do a healthy mix. But you're right, the apartment market is hot. A lot of millennials don't want to own property. They want a
boomers are
nice place.
downsizing. They're
Baby
tired,
boomers like myself.
tired of the outdoor upkeep
Correct.
and all that.
We are tired of cutting grass. We're tired of the house upkeep. We're willing to downsize, go into a nice apartment, condo, or townhouse.
And
so
you know, the military used to always buy. You know, you could get your VA loan. You could count on selling at a profit when you got transferred in 3 years. They can't count on that anymore. And some of them have property somewhere else that they haven't been able to sell. And so people need to rent right now.
And even though we have that large military presence in the area, we do count in on it for residential purposes, but you can't solely rely on that, because with duty shifts changing, assignments changing, that's a transient market.
Yeah.
So again, we want to build in some stability on top of the stability we already have in the homeowners in the city of Hampton.
Okay, great. Now let's talk about restaurants and shopping.
Sure.
My 2 favorite topics. We have some new ones that are either about to open or have opened recently.
Yeah, I don't know who has been driving through Phoebus lately, but they need to. Between stuff, the Fuller Raw Bar that's going to be open, Mango continues to be successful. The Point just went through an expansion where they have an outdoor eating facility
now. I haven't seen that yet, and I love the Point.
It's very nice. It's a nice place to sit out on a cool afternoon, enjoy your beverage and your food.
El Diablo's supposed to be working on something like that too.
El Diablo's is also
Which
working
is
on a
great, because
plan
they have
like that.
You have to wait there a lot of
Yeah,
times.
because the capacity doesn't exist inside the buildings, they have no other choice but to expand to the outside of the buildings, and a lot of them are doing that. So it's exciting for us to have that, and we are working to create some more retail opportunities in the city. And Robin, you're very well aware, the retail world has changed. The big box users have pulled back. There are only a few of them, such as your Walmarts and your Targets, that can compete anymore. And some of the smaller retailers are saying, I can be as successful online than having that brick and mortar store.
Right.
But we have not given up on our retail. We're looking for the right retail to put them in the right places to allow the citizens of Hampton to take advantage and to shop and to purchase their goods there.
Well, every time I drive on the interstate, which isn't that often because, you know, I don't leave Hampton, everything's right here. I see that big Floor and Decor building. Do we know when that's going to open or exactly what that's going to be? That's a chain I'm not familiar with.
Floor and Decor is a floor and tile facility. Everybody loves it. It's getting a lot of buzz, a lot of talk, and thanks to HGTV, a lot of people like to do their do-it-yourself home projects now. They're looking towards a fall open. They have not given us a specific date at this time, but as you drive past it on the interstate, you can see the building, you can see their sign up on the door. It's coming this fall, and they're excited about our marketplace. We will be the second store that they have in our region.
That is great. Now, also in terms of retail, groceries, it's been a little bit of an up and down. We added Lidl, we added Aldi, and then Farm Fresh sold. And while those stores were being remodeled, Love Food Lion, but there was a gap in terms of some of the offerings.
The grocery business has become extremely competitive. Just with some of the names that you just reeled off, more and more grocers are entering into the market. We had the Kroger that's recently opened at the Hampton Coliseum, where the former Farm Fresh. They will be opening a new store at the River Point that's on Mercury Boulevard. That store will be constructed, and it's still coming forth as a new Kroger. In the Willow Oaks area, the Fox Hill Shopping Center, Harris Teeter will be occupying the store.
Yay!
There has been a number and a lot of rumors out there saying Harris Teeter is not coming, they're not going to occupy the store. I spoke to their real estate director for the corporation no less than 2 weeks ago. He has assured me that the store is coming. What is taking them so long or lengthen their time, they're going to do a total remodel of the store. They just weren't content shoehorning themselves into an existing building.
Harris Teeter has a look and a feel that is very, very different from what used to be there.
They are very protective and very guarded about it, and they want to make sure when they go into the building, it exhibits what they want to exhibit as a Harris Teeter. So we have to be a little bit patient.
It's so hard.
But it's going to come. It's going to come. Sometime next year, we'll see that store open.
Yay! And that's, that is one of the things, because I don't shop at one grocery store all the time. There's a Food Lion that's very close to me that I shop at sometimes. I go to Woods Orchard. I go to, Dean and Don's. I go to Harris Teeter. So it's nice to have, and I love Lidl. So there's that variety right here in Hampton that, I think we all want.
Yeah, and Robin, I would classify you as the typical shopper, because most people do that now. Nobody shops at just one store to get everything they need. They have figured out where are the items I need at the respective stores, and it's a routine for them to patronize those stores to get what they want from those specific stores, and that's how people are doing their shopping. We encourage people to still get out and shop. I know shopping online can be so convenient, but if you want your neighborhoods to thrive, if you want your cities to thrive, we still need you out shopping in the brick and mortar stores.
Well, and the brick and mortar stores are offering more online ordering options.
Correct.
I'm very familiar with what Harris Teeter does, and they have someone who will go in, pick the produce for you, do all the time-consuming stuff, and carry it out to your car when you get off work.
Walmart has a similar service, and
Target just started.
Target just started the service, and I read this morning that Kroger is possibly going to start an online shopping. So even though they have the brick and mortar stores, they see the trends. They understand how people are looking for convenience, and they're trying to make that shopping experience more convenient for you.
And as much as I love online, you're contributing to a lot of additional trucking, additional cardboard, additional packaging. Those of us who are trying to live a little bit greener, being at a place where at least everything was kind of trucked in on one big truck, and it's more efficient, and the produce is going to be, I think, generally fresher and better, and so a lot of those grocery stores too work with some local growers.
Correct. It's not the grocery store you and I probably grew up with. That whole
Which was
industry.
Kroger, by the way. But Kroger's changed.
Yeah, that whole industry, that whole market has changed. They are adapting to the new customer while continuing to satisfy their old customers.
Oh gosh, and customers now need, they need gluten-free, they need dairy-free, they need low carb, they need all kinds of different options. I mean, it's just difficult to satisfy even one family at a meal.
Difficult, challenging, but they work very hard to make sure it happens. And having a variety of stores in Hampton like we do and like we would continue to grow, it answers all of those needs for you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to get out a crystal ball now.
Okay.
And project out the next 5 to 10 years. What does Hampton look like? What have we added? What changes?
The next 5 to 10 years for Hampton, you'll continue to see the commercial businesses grow. Not only new prospects coming in, but existing businesses. We work very hard with them to hopefully help them prosper to grow, because the best source of growth are the businesses that we currently have. It takes a long time to cultivate those relationships to bring new businesses in. So we spend a lot of time talking and visiting existing businesses. Now, we have over 10,000 business licenses in the city.
Wow.
And there are only about 8 of us that are out, so we can't see everybody. But we do encourage people to call in if they have a need for our services. If we can assist them with something in the city, call in. But continuing that forward look, you're going to see a greater number of people in the city of Hampton. Roughly, we have about a population of 135,000 people in round numbers. That's going to grow because these new residential developments, these new residential homes, townhouses, condominiums, apartments, we're going to have an influx of new people into our population. So you're going to continue to see our population I think we peaked. We leveled off, but now you're going to see it start to grow as these new properties come online. With that, we're working hard to create jobs so you can live, work, and play right here in the city of Hampton.
And I think that's going to work. I was talking to the ladies at Fort Monroe YMCA. They said a lot of their clients live in Norfolk, and they work in Hampton. They'll come to that Y, wait for the bridge tunnel traffic to die down, and then cross the bridge. And pretty soon they're going to figure out they don't have to cross the bridge.
Exactly. They're going to figure out
Monroe Gates,
they can stay in Monroe Gates and Lumen. They can stay on Fort Monroe, where most of that residential property is already taken. But a good point, Fort Monroe. Just wanted to touch on that a little bit. They have an RFQ on the street now, request for qualifications, because they're looking to entice new developers to Fort Monroe. In the Northgate area, they have about 30 to 40 acres of vacant property that they're looking to develop from a commercial and a residential standpoint. They have been hosting people on the base for the tours, and they will put out an RFP to the qualified people who submitted under the RFQ. And we will be seeing some new development take place at Fort Monroe as well. So again, all of Hampton is growing, whether it's the Peninsula Town Center area, whether it's downtown, whether it's Phoebus, Fort Monroe, Fox Hill, Buckrow. There's growth all over the city.
I think that's going to definitely be the case, and I think some of those areas will start to grow together. The downtown and Phoebus area is just going to sort of fill in, and they have so much in common in terms of kind of historical, kind of funky, but growing all kinds of residential opportunities. Fort Monroe, I do want to let people know the reason for the RFQ and a lot of the building and master plan out there is that there are very, very strict guidelines on what can go there. We don't want to scare people and think there's going to be a large industrial type building there.
And those guidelines are there to protect the property, to maintain that high quality and those high standards. But we have developers that are responding that can meet those standards and maintain those standards.
And that, I think, it's part of what it takes so long in terms of development at Fort Monroe is you have to do it right. You have one chance here. And in partnership, the state, the local, the federal government, we are all working to enhance it, but to do it in the right way.
Robin, what we're developing now, you and I won't be around to see it redeveloped in the future. But you're right. You get one shot at this in your lifetime. So we work very hard to do our best to get it right. It's not that we're taking time because we have the time, because time is a luxury. But we want to make sure when we do something, It's right for the city. It's a strong contributor to the region, and it can sustain itself for a long period of time.
Well, in fact, I'm going to end on an example there because the National Guard Armory, we held on to that building. There was a proposal to turn it into a homeless shelter. There was a proposal to make it, I think, a dance school. And the city said, we want what's really the best use of that property. So tell us what it is now, Stephen.
It operates under the name of Vanguard. It's a food, craft beer, brewed liquor, entertainment facility. It's a go in one place, get all your entertainment. They've done a wonderful job with the facility. As you said, the National
they have
Guard.
live music,
we had
variety all the time.
We had some in the public
so
saying, let's knock that building down. Why are you keeping that eyesore? But we knew if we waited and held on to it, the right person would come along. And they did. It's functioning. I go there for lunch. I invite everybody to go there for lunch or dinner. Go there on the weekends for the entertainment. They have live music, live bands.
It's drawing people from almost Richmond to Virginia Beach. It is a really stellar facility.
It is a regional draw. It really is. And they put the facility in the right place, in the right condition, so it can be that regional draw for a long, long time. That's a perfect example of how you do something right so it can be sustained.
And that's what's going to happen at the Virginia School, at the old development downtown, that apartment complex that we bought and tore down, at Hampton Road Center land that we're holding on to. It's just sometimes takes a while.
Correct. And the public should understand we're just not sitting on these properties. We are cultivating the relationships. We're working through developers, working with prospects that will be the right fit for those properties, because the one time we get to do this in my lifetime, I want to make sure we do it right.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Stephen.
Robin.
And thank you for watching. I hope this update on what the city is doing for economic development has reminded you of what's happened, has given you an insight into how we do things and how long it takes and how frustrating that can be. But we know where we're going, and we hope you do too. Thanks for watching.